Tonight on the WHAS 1119, remembering a life.
Losing my dad. It's hurt a lot.
Tonight, how the FOP is honoring the life of Officer Rob Oliver months after he was killed following a motorcycle crash. Plus, major changes to the Department of Juvenile Justice over the past year. But are they working?
Just in terms of why there are vacancies, it is not exclusively money, but it is primarily money.
Is a bump in pay helping to fill a critical staffing shortage? And then,
the countdown is on. Sports betting will be here just in time for the NFL kickoff, tailgating, and the college football season.
the steps taken this week to make sports wagering a legal reality in the Commonwealth after years of waiting. It's all new right now, here on the 19. And thank you for joining us on the 19. I'm Eric King. A man was fatally shot tonight in the Shawnee neighborhood. Here's some video from South 41st Street near West Market. Police were called there just before 6. When they arrived, they found the body of a man whose name has not yet been released. Police believe the shooting is domestic in nature, and they say they believe they have everyone involved accounted for. Honoring an officer who gave more than 18 years of his life to service, the FOP Lodge remembered Rob Oliver today. Members of law enforcement worked to raise money for the former LMPD's officer family. Connor Steffen shares some of those details tonight.
For those who knew Officer Rob Oliver best, as time goes on, lasting memories only grow stronger.
My dad was an amazing man.
What his daughter remembers,
He served his community
the selflessness.
for many years. He's a very disciplined man.
The officer worked with Jeffersonville Police before joining LMPD. He also served in the military and LMPD Honor Guard.
He enjoyed everything about the police department, even though he was ready for retirement.
Ready for a retirement that tragically would never come. Back in March, Oliver lost his life from complications of a motorcycle accident.
Losing my dad, it's hurt a lot, but it's made a very big impact on my life as well, and my kids.
The family now seeing the impact and reach of Oliver's life.
And we just like to take care of our own people.
As a community comes together for one of their own.
And we're just raising money for the family to help pay bills and help out with family issues.
Raising money and remembering Oliver the best way they know how, with the things he loved. A poker tournament, an hours-long motorcycle ride.
He just loved motorcycles. He loved everybody. Just a great guy, great officer. Never met everybody he met. It was like he knew you for years,
And while gone, Rob Oliver's spirit lives on in those who carry on his name. In Louisville, Connor Steffen, the WHAS 1119, on your side.
Catholic University in Washington, D.C. is tightening security after an Oldham County teacher was fatally shot right off its campus. In a letter to students and staff members, Catholic University's president remembered the life of Max Emerson and said the school will create a memorial in his memory. And to prevent future incidents, the university is boosting its number of armed officers and bike patrols on campus. Here at home, Oldham County High School is selling memorial t-shirts to raise money for his family.
We have sold over 1,000 t-shirts in just a few days. All of our profits and proceeds are going directly to the Emerson family. I'm blown away by the community outpouring. The love in this small town is insane.
Emerson's memorial service is scheduled for Monday at 1 p.m. in Crestwood, Kentucky. Police in Washington have arrested 22-year-old Jamie Macedo in connection to Emerson's death. He has been charged with murder. And we'll mention many were wearing those memorial shirts today at Oldham County Day in LaGrange. The day started with a parade that rolled from LaGrange Elementary to the Court Square, where there were booths and food, games, and a lot more. Despite that rain that moved in early this morning, people were still able to get out and celebrate the day.
The weather, it might be rainy, but at least it's not scorching hot. And we always like going around to all the booths, meeting local vendors. What do you like about it?
That I get to do a bunch of fun stuff and play games with my family.
Live music, the bouncy house, and the petting zoo wrapped up today's festivities around 5 o'clock this evening. Officials with the Department of Juvenile Justice were in front of Kentucky lawmakers again yesterday, hoping to show progress and improvements to the system. During this year's legislative session, lawmakers passed bills to reopen a youth detention center in Louisville, provide security upgrades to facilities throughout the state, and provide a bump in salaries in an attempt to combat staffing shortages. The state-run juvenile justice system has struggled to house increasing numbers of young people accused of violent offenses. In testimony before lawmakers, the department officials said they're still struggling to properly staff facilities, but that pay bump was drawing in more recruits.
If you're not paying a market wage, you're not going to be able to hire people. And thanks to the governor's leadership and the General Assembly's leadership, we're doing a lot better with that today because we've seen significant increases in the compensation for these essential jobs.
Several changes to the department over the last year. The state opened its first female-only juvenile detention center, started assigning male juveniles to facilities based on the severity of their offenses, and it's now providing detention center employees with defensive equipment. After years of waiting, we are now less than 60 days from legal sports betting in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. This week, the Horse Racing Commission met and approved guidelines that will set up sports betting in the state. Governor Andy Beshear will also sign an executive order this week creating an advisory board that will help the Horse Racing Commission with guidelines on legal sports wagering in the state.
We recognize that having others that have knowledge and direct knowledge of the sports betting industry can provide good advice to the commission. This is about having some additional voices at the table that will be able to provide different thoughts on everything from regulation to potential changes in how things are done to how we carry out the day-to-day.
Here's what all of that means for you. Kentuckians can place their first bets in person on September 7th. As promised, that is just in time for the start of the NFL season. Mobile betting will be set up and ready to go a few weeks later on September 28th. A federal judge in Louisville has overturned his own injunction against parts of Kentucky Senate Bill 150, which temporarily halted them from going into effect. 2 weeks ago, federal judge David Hale granted an injunction blocking the provision banning gender-affirming care from going into effect. The ACLU, representing families of transgender children, made that request. Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron then appealed that ruling. Judge Hale sided with Cameron based on precedent set by similar case law in Tennessee, where an appellate court allowed the Tennessee law banning gender-affirming care to go into effect. In a statement, Attorney General Cameron called the ruling a win for parents and children. He says he's grateful for the court doing what he says the law requires. The ACLU responded, saying the fight isn't over and it remains optimistic about winning the case. Bit of a mystery in Alabama. A young woman calling 911 to report a toddler on the side of the road, but when officers arrived, she was nowhere to be found and there was no sign of a child. The community is now involved in her search effort. ABC's Dave Packard has the details.
Police in Hoover, Alabama, just outside of Birmingham, are searching for 25-year-old Carlethia Carly Russell, who disappeared after calling 911 Thursday evening.
On July the 13th, at approximately 9:34 p.m., the Hoover 911 Center received a call from a 25-year-old female on I-459 southbound near mile marker 11. She reported that she saw a toddler walking on the side of the interstate.
After calling 911, she then called a family member.
She told the relative that she was on the phone with that I can't leave this child on the side of the road with something happening to them.
The family member lost contact with her, but the phone line remained open. Her mother tells ABC News that the family member heard what sounded like a scream, but just background noise after that. When officers arrived at the location of the initial 911 call, they said they found Carly's vehicle and some of her belongings nearby.
They were unable to find her or a child in the area, and Hoover police have not received any additional calls of someone missing a small child.
Carly's mother also tells ABC News the car was still running with the door open.
We just ask that the public will do everything that they can to help search for her.
Her father fighting back tears.
She's my life. She's my baby girl. She's our baby girl. Irreplaceable.
As the investigation continues, the community coming together to search for the young woman.
The Hoover Police Department is currently partnering with many of our local, state, and federal partners in this investigation, and we're very grateful for the outpouring of support from our local community as well as the law enforcement community.
Dave Packer, ABC News, New York.
From one person missing to one person found, a 9-day manhunt in Pennsylvania has finally come to an end. Michael Berman, the escaped murder suspect described as a survivalist, was captured earlier today. Berman is a suspect in homicide and rape cases in Jamestown, New York. He was being held in northern Pennsylvania's Warren County Jail on arson and burglary charges when he escaped. In a press conference, Pennsylvania State Police said they were tipped off to his location by a caller who said a suspicious person was on his property. Burnham was finally taken into custody by multiple agencies, including U.S. Marshals, New York State Police, and Customs and Border Protection. Police say Burnham was armed at the time, or wasn't armed at the time, rather, but they did find ammo in stockpile bags nearby.